Hey everyone, we're going to go through the remaining dissection exercises for the fetal pig. We're going to start with the reproductive system. I have a female pig, so I can only show you the female parts, but I can guide you through the male system as well and what you need to do. So first off, you may be wondering how I know I have a female pig. Well, I have a female pig because if I look under the tail, there's this little genital papilla, okay? So if you see this little bump, this little nub, you know you have a female pig, okay? So from here, we're going to look in the abdominal cavity. And so my pig is not quite as open as it needs to be. And so I'm just going to take some scissors. And now you can use whatever tool works best for you, okay? For many of us, it will be scissors, but for some of us, it might be the scalpel. And this technique I do not recommend. I'm just using it so that you can see what I'm doing better. All right. So now that we've kind of opened up this region, I'm going to take a paper towel and I'm going to kind of just mop it up a little bit. If you ever have fluid in there, you can always just take a paper towel to dry it up a little bit so you can see better. Okay, and so we have, looking in here, this curlicue thing. And this curlicue thing is, the whole structure includes the ovaries, the uterine tube, and the bodies of the uterus. So at the very end, so if you pull this kind of curlicue out, you'll see little bean-shaped organs. And those bean-shaped organs are the ovaries. And then we have the curlicue uterine tubes. And then down here, you have the uterine body. Now, pigs have litters, so more of their reproductive region looks like a tube than our uterus. So our uterus is kind of just forms almost like a triangle, but the pig uterus accommodates many little piglets, and so it has more tubes, so those piglets can develop. Okay, so we've just gone through the uterus, the ovaries, and the genital papillae. If I had a male pig, the testes would be found right here, okay? So you would have a much bigger kind of area right here, and you'd be able to kind of push in and you could feel the testes, okay? If you cut this region, you'll be able to remove the testes, and you'll be able to see that, so the testes will be kind of surrounded by a sac. If you kind of cut that sac open, you'll see the testes and the epididymis, and you'll see the vas deferens. That's all within the spermatic cord. Okay? In a male pig, you'll also have to find the external urethral opening. And so in a male pig, just below its belly button, right around here, you're going to have an opening. Okay? And that is where the penis will come out. That's the external urethral opening. And if you take the tissue of a male pig and you kind of pinch it a little bit, you'll be able to feel the penis on the inside. Okay? The next activity that we're going to do is looking at the respiratory system of the fetal pig. And so we have this area nice and open, but I need to remove this tissue right here. So the thymus and the thyroid and the muscles that surround it, I need to remove, and also some of these blood vessels. Okay? And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to get to the larynx. So just snip. If there's resistance, you are in the wrong area. This tissue is all very, very soft, so there should not be resistance. If you've hit resistance, you have probably cut into the larynx. Okay. And so here, I'm going to use the Mall probe and kind of work away at this connective tissue so we can see that larynx really well. So we've got the larynx visible right here, and we can see the trachea down here. The next thing that we need to do is remove the heart. So the way to remove the heart is to cut away the great vessels. Okay, so I'm going to start with the pulmonary trunk, the aorta, superior vena cava. Let's see, okay, so here's the heart. And you might want to investigate the heart a little bit more now that it's cut out. Okay. And now we're going to take the Mall probe and kind of get an understanding of what we're looking at. So this tissue is lung tissue, okay? And I can see where the pulmonary veins were going into the heart. And so we're just going to try to tear this away and hopefully not do too much damage to the lungs. Now, I do not expect you to be able to do these things as cleanly as I can, and sometimes I don't even do it very cleanly. But I have dissected a few more pigs than you guys have. So if your pig does not look anything like my pig, it's okay, because I have a lot more experience under my belt than you do, most likely. The only student I've had who had more experience cutting things up was a student who worked as a butcher. And he did amazing dissections. I just cut into the trachea. So it's okay, these things happen. So right here is the trachea, and you can kind of see, so here's the trachea, and right there is the primary bronchi. Not super clear. Sometimes it can be really, really nice, and sometimes it's not so nice. And so here would be where the other bronchi is. So remember, we have the larynx, the trachea going down to here. Where the trachea splits off, those are the primary bronchi. Okay. What else do we need to do? We need to kind of investigate the lobes of the lung, so you can compare the right and left sides. Okay. And we can look at the diaphragm. And the diaphragm, you cut away from the wall, but it's likely still there over the liver. Okay, so this is the diaphragm again. Okay, so I'm just going to go through those structures. We have the external nares, we have the larynx, we have the trachea, we have the primary bronchi going up to the lungs. We can look at the lobes of the lungs. And then we can look at the diaphragm. Okay, in this section we're going to go through the digestive system. And so we have just kind of removed the tissue that was above the larynx and the trachea. And so if you look behind those, you'll see it looks almost like a rubber band, and that is the esophagus. So right here, I have the esophagus. Just going to try to clear up some of that tissue so you can really see that. So there you go. That's the esophagus. It's right behind the larynx and the trachea. Okay, and the esophagus is going to come down here and meet with the stomach. Okay, so here we go. There's the esophagus down here going into the stomach. Okay, so the stomach is a big bag. Okay, it's probably pretty floppy in your pig. Going kind of around the stomach is the spleen. So this little kind of projection right here is the spleen. Okay. Below the stomach, we have the pancreas. And the pancreas usually has a little bit of connective tissue over it, but the pancreas is also very fragile, so I just kind of stabbed into it right there. But right here we have our pancreas. It kind of looks like cauliflower that's been elongated. Okay. And then we have our liver. And below the liver, you'll find a little green balloon right there. That's the gallbladder. Okay, and we can see the blood vessels going into the liver down here. See that hepatic portal right back here. All right, then we'll have the small intestine right here and the large intestine. So if we were looking at a human, the small intestine would be in the middle and the large intestine would kind of go up, across, and down. But in pigs, the large intestine, it forms a spiral colon. Okay? And I think we've covered everything that we need to cover for digestive. All right, so we are on our final video with the pig, or our final activity with the pig. And so the last system that we're going to look at is the urinary system. And so here's all the digestive system. The urinary system lies behind. The kidneys are actually mostly retroperitoneal, so behind the peritoneal membrane. So I'm going to take my handy dandy mall probe and I'm going to actually tear away that serous membrane. And I'm going around the kidneys, under the kidneys, hopefully not tearing into the kidneys. And so here is the kidney. Sometimes you can see a little bit of the adrenal glands up here. And now we need to find the ureter. Look at that, that was really easy. So the kidney is going to let urine go down the ureter. And that ureter, you probably aren't going to be able to follow it the whole way to the bladder. This is the bladder right here. This is the bladder right here. Okay, and if we were to remove the bladder, from here we would find the urogenital sinus. Now for male pigs, the urogenital sinus is up here. Okay? So again, we have the kidney, we have the ureter, and the urinary bladder. Okay? So we have covered our pig. I'm just going to very quickly go through all the structures that we've just done in this picture. So we start with the external nares, go down to the larynx, the trachea, the primary bronchi, the lungs, the diaphragm, we have the liver, we have the stomach, we have the spleen, we have the pancreas, we have the gallbladder over here, that green bag, we have the small intestine and the large intestine, we have the kidneys, the ureters, the urinary bladder. Down here, because I have a fetal pig, I have the genital papillae. I have the ovaries down in here. And I have the uterine horns, or uterine tubes leading to the body of the uterus. If you have a male pig, you're going to have, instead of curlicues here, you're going to have a very thin tube that comes from the spermatic cord and comes out and kind of down and in. So that is going to be the vas deferens. Okay? So again, if you have a male pig, you can open up here. You'll find the testes, the epididymis, the vas deferens that travels through that spermatic cord. The vas deferens is going to come kind of up and in over here. And then you would find the penis here with the external urethral opening right here. One last thing that I forgot to cover when I was up here is that rubber band esophagus right there. Okay, so I hope these videos have been helpful for you, and if you have any questions, please reach out on the community forum, and I will see you soon.